All right, gangsters. Let's do some figures. I think it's just a drawing day today. I think it's just a drawing day because I finished the card yesterday. It's a big file to load. Yeah, it was since we wrapped this up yesterday. I just feel like good old drawing. And it's Friday. That was completely the wrong gesture. There you go. Let's try to stay a little bit loose with them today. The gestures, at least at the beginning. And try and see if we can't be a little bit more CSI with it, like I was talking about yesterday. Let's try to keep that vibe, that idea up for today. Okay. Hey, Tonal Architect, first time chatter. How you doing? What's up? What's up? What's up? Is this how I start all my drawing sessions? Most of them. Most of them. Um, there's been a lot of figures recently. Um, there was also a period of time where we just did faces for warm-ups. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Doing well. We call it a warm-up, but really part of it is just I really like to spend some time every day working on something that I'd like to be better at. So when I sit down to work, I like to take like an hour or so to just draw something difficult, I guess. And then some of that is warm up, but I think the warm up stops at some point before I do. Although I haven't really been doing enough invented figures at the end of these sessions these days. These are all referenced, right? I think that's a solid approach. I mean, from what I can tell, it's one of the best, right? You get to warm up, you get to make some observations, hopefully, at the beginning of the day. Then you move on to imagination, you try to apply some of that, and you re-figure out what are your weaknesses, where do you make the most mistakes, and then moving into some targeted studies. I think and hope that that's a really solid approach that you just outlined. Arms big as per usual. I should start every time I'm about to draw an arm. I should start to go, oh, it's arm drawing time, draw it smaller. Well, because my arms are always too big. I always draw arms that are too big. And so one of the strategies that I've been taught to fix proportions is to intentionally offset them in the other direction for a while until that becomes your new normal. So the idea is, okay, I always draw arms too big. Well, if when I draw this guy, instead of drawing the arm that I feel like he should have, I draw an arm that's a bit shorter, because I know about myself that my arm proportions aren't tuned very well. Trying to draw the arm a little bit smaller than I think it should be should actually get me closer to the proper proportions. And then over time, the idea is that would start to feel more and more natural if I were to just draw an arm. And that this hand is too big, right? So you can say I should be doing the same thing with hands, is draw them a little bit smaller than what I think is right, or than what feels right. And then hopefully my proportions should correct themselves over time. It's kind of like, and you have that same technique when you're learning to draw straight lines. At least I've heard that described. I haven't ever really felt like I needed to do that. But some people, when learning to draw your horizontals, your verticals, will start to subconsciously or without intending to, they'll start to curve the lines a little bit, and then the way to fix that, allegedly, is you curve them intentionally the other way for a while until it starts to feel natural. The natural, what feels like a horizontal line, starts to be an actual horizontal line. Oh, the beam method helped you for pelvis torso? That's nice, that's nice. I can imagine how that would work. If you have like a model that has like some proportional dependencies, that'll help make sure that you actually draw the proportions that you intend to. Let's CSI it a bit. Straight with a C curve. Sure. And I don't know. I can only really make the calves make sense as S curves. But I know because I observed it yesterday that Maki likes to Art of Maki, who's just like an artist I admire, likes to actually just do C curves for calves sometimes. It just feels a little bit whack to me. I don't know. Maybe that's just because it's different. And then let's see here. There's your problem. There's more of a twist to this gesture. There's more of a twist to this pose. The arm starts way further out. We get scapula back here. It's really twisting her body way more than what I had drawn. Yeah, and hands, man. Arms and hands. Every time I draw an arm or a hand, I gotta be like, draw it smaller than you think you need to. Do I prefer learning figure drawings from books or the internet? I just do both, I guess. I think what I do the most is I do books, I do studies from books, and I do studies from artists that I think are awesome. And I think I do those two things way more than like watch tutorials. Yeah. But it's just, yeah, I don't know. I like drawing, and I feel like I just feel like I learn more Or yeah, intuitively it feels like I learn more about drawing when I am drawing myself. Um, so I really like just drawing studies. Books are great for that, but the internet's great for that too. But that's probably just fully preference. I have no idea about an optimal play there. I think it's just what feels good to you, what do you get done, what feels like you're making progress. Which that reminds me, today could be a good day to do some more studies because I don't have like a piece hanging over my head. Yo, Tonal Architect, thanks for subscribing. Appreciate it. Um, yeah, my alerts definitely aren't making sound. Um, hum. I think they'll make noise again now, but now the noise will be real loud, so appreciate it regardless. My favorite books for studying figure. Well, I guess my favorite book, period, is still the Tom Fox one. What's it called? Form and Pose, Drawing Human Anatomy, something like that. I don't know. Really enjoyed that one. I think I've drawn my way through that one like 1.5 times or something. You have it through the Michael Hampton book? Yeah, yeah. Nice, nice. I do like that one. I think there's some good ideas in there. Um, and I guess that's not necessarily a problem. Because the ideas are good, he doesn't have to be the world's best draftsman. But sometimes I was a little frustrated that he isn't the world's best draftsman. Definitely not bad. Definitely not bad. But part of what I like about the Tom Fox book is just he's just such a virtuosic draftsman. He's just really really good at drawing. And I like how it feels to be taught by someone who's really really good at drawing. That said, a lot of people who are quite good at drawing swear by the Hampton book. And now we draw a hand, so we draw it just a little smaller than we think we need to. Try that leg again with some more space. I have another drawing book that I really like, but maybe that's like a niche pick. There's a Robert Beverly Hale book. I think it's Robert Beverly Hale. Drawing lessons from the great masters, and it's kind of there's a bunch of drawing ideas. There's a bunch of takes in there, but it's also a little bit of it is just about how to study another artist. It's about thinking of the mass conceptions of the artist that you're studying. So stuff like realizing, oh, this triceps that Jacob is drawing right now, if you were to study Jacob, it's a bigger cylinder with a smaller cylinder wedged into it. It's of course like an old Bridgman idea. But this idea of mass conceptions, oh, how am I thinking of the arm right now? I'm thinking of like of the forearm. I'm thinking of like an egg shape that wedges into, or rather a rectangle shape that wedges into an egg shape, right? An egg form. And just being aware of what form or mass conception you're currently using to describe a certain part of the body. Is the elbow boxy or is it rounded? Has been something that's really helped me in like my mannequinization and figure drawing in general. And I think that's well described in that book, Drawing Lessons from the Great Masters. I'm not even sure that I've finished that book. That's a little funny. Doing a hand, so we draw it a little bit smaller than what we think. I don't know, that feels a little strange. But it's right, it's right. This guy's calves are... Yo, Smugsy, thanks for following. Now I get the alerts. And I get them loud. And a follower goal, yeah, I get them real loud. I gotta figure that out one day. Just give them like a happy middle. Okay. Quick crit of this. Didn't know I streamed. No, it's hard to get the word out. It's been since August. A quick crit of this one would be, I think he's more like broad as a build than what I had drawn. I think we could have exaggerated the curves in the pose. I think this leg should be more straight down. And like the counter curve moment in the neck here could be done better. Yeah, okay. I think that feels better. Well, it definitely does. All right, let's do another sheet. Okay, this is one of these ones. I always really like this gesture, but have trouble really portraying it well. But sometimes you get these poses where like it almost feels like the rib cage is offset relative to the pelvis. And I don't know, I just think that looks really like cool and dynamic for some reason. You always respect people who start with torso instead of head. Well, thanks. Yeah, I don't know, this just always seemed easier to me. Oh man, I know we were just talking about like simple CSI. I like all the lumpy bumps on the limbs. I think it's pretty. Okay, let's eat our vegetables first. Let's try and do the simple CSI and then afterwards I can do my lumpy bumps drawing. Yeah, yeah, okay. Oh, come on. Careful, we're drawing a hand. Don't want to draw it too big. You actually have the Robert Beverly Hale book? That's nice, that's nice. And that one, honestly, that one a read through is fine. Because it's not and I don't know, maybe you really fuck with the drawings in there, but it's like old masters drawings, and so to me they're not all of them are that appealing. But what it is really good for is this idea of, oh, well, when is this artist using like, oh, an egg form conception for like a belly or a cheek or something? When are they using like a, wow, when are they using like a box form conception for a knee or a forearm or for a pelvis? Um, it's really good for starting to think in primitives. When are they using a sphere? Um, yeah, and because it's so much about the thinking, that one I don't think you need to draw it as much as you need to read it. Your mileage may vary, of course. Okay, now we've tried the other one. Now we can try the one that I like to draw. That's interesting. Okay. Careful about the hands. Careful about the hands. Also forearms. It's a little big. Pelvis can be pretty tricky. Thank God for boxes. Yeah, for sure, man. Box is good for drawing. It's a little long. There we are. And she's hella off balance, but this could be balanced. Technically, this could be. I don't know. That's so much more fun to me. All right. It's okay. This one was off. Not even really by that much. Oh, give me a second. phone merchant, phone seller, trying to sell me phones. No, trying to sell me stuff on the phone. Anyway, we're back. I mean, this works. It is not the angle in the reference, but it does work. Let's just also draw the angle in the reference, shall we? All right, give me a second. It's always so tricky to draw like a face at an angle if you don't tilt your canvas to that angle. It's so easy to end up skewing the face. I think it's just like a fact of life. Faces hard to draw at unrotated canvas. How are you guys able to draw at different angles? Me trying to draw faces without rotating the canvas. Remember that? Remember that? Remember about the free run meme? The free run meme? That the text was, how do you guys able to draw at different angles? I remember that. I thought that was funny. Still a little too much chin, man. But I also like this angle that I drew. Pasker team player. Hello, how you doing? Let's pull that eye back. Oops. There you go. Well, it is a really difficult angle. And it's not necessarily used that much, so there's reason for a lot of artists to just like not really draw it that much, right? Hello there, Six on the Run. How you doing? Yeah, pretty chill, pretty chill. Pretty chill. Right. Cool. I think that's gonna be my best bet for that right now. Let it out. What are you guys listening to? You putting on music for the bangerless stream? Wait, what are we doing? Oh, yeah, the wrong thing. I'm listening to Dochi right now. Well, I'm listening to Balloon. Yeah, I think it's a nice post. I mean, it's still just, we're still on the referencing bit of the stream. So, I mean, I guess this face wasn't referenced, but the pose is. You like to just listen to jazz music when you draw. There was a little while where I was just listening to Kind of Blue. A little while. It was like a week. But I have like my side quests when it comes to music taste and music exploration. I kind of almost always get back into my hip hop R&B vibe quite quickly. I don't know, man. Something about it. That's just where I thrive musically. Listen to soundtracks. That's good. I listened to the 25 anniversary Ghibli concert the other day. That was nice. And a rare, like once in a blue moon, I'll put on the Mario Galaxy soundtrack. When the song's too much of a banger, you get distracted by peak. Yeah, maybe this is the case. If it is, though, I just tank it. I mean, also, I have periods of time where I just draw to silence, which I think tends to result in better art. But I don't know. Sometimes that gets. What I usually say is it's harder to initiate. It's harder to get going. The less stimulus you have in your ears. But typically, my experience is the art is better. The less external stimuli I have. So probably, if we're fair right now, I am distracted by peak. But it's a nice space to be in, you know. So, bum 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 bum. I kind of want to whip out some studies. Maybe knock out some studies. Maybe that's the better phrasing. Um, let's see what's on the old influence. Whoops, I can't do that. I cannot do that. Oh, and also I forgot to. Can't believe he's been like that the whole stream. Um, okay. Let's find someone like a Gary Vaynerchuk, and then just do some studies. We put on the studies disclaimer so everybody knows that this is not like my original art. This is not my art. This is not my art. This is art by Gary Vaynerchuk. And then I would just like to draw some of those. Maybe if we could get rid of, can we get rid of all the white? Awesome. Gary Vaynerchuk here, he's just really good at gesture and appealing shape. Like extremely good at those two things. And it's stuff I'd like to be a bit better at myself. Like also from a design perspective, look at this hat. Fucking dope ass shape. And the effects shapes, look at the magic shapes, look at the sword. Man, that's fucking dope. Yeah, I didn't even get it right. Subtle curve here. And just a very dramatic tapering. Yeah, man, that's a good drawing. And look at me with my two big hands. You guys want to play two old cat? Okay, I'll start. Look, one old cat. No, Tim, I think that cat is too old. So I think, and who the hell knows what is on Greg's mind? But I think you're supposed to just find another old cat. But evidently, if the other old cat you find is too old, you've failed too old cat. Or maybe you've succeeded. You suddenly reacted like you'd failed. And if you found two old cats, I think you win and then you go again. You haven't seen Over the Garden Wall, I take it? It's a good show. I can really only recommend it. Oh man. This guy can draw, man. That guy can draw. Gary Vonica. Right, go big with the skirt, go thin with the feet. They're not positioned like this. No, they're 2 feet completely in line because that shape is like crazy good. Because the shape contrast is goated. Yeah, man, he knows how to draw. Let's grab the other ones. And it's not even the full silhouette because also he goes like. Yeah, man, badass. Montel, you and your brother like the show? It's a really good show. It's really wholesome and nice and fun. I feel like it's also become a bit of like a cult classic. Over the Garden Wall. My sister watches it every Halloween. I watch it every once in a while. But look, it's not just crazy gesture. Gary can do subtlety and nuance too. What a crazy man. What a skilled artist. Infinity Train? I only ever saw the pilot. I was really excited about it when the pilot came out. Um, but then I think that was right around the time where like my enthusiasm for that sort of, I don't know, yeah, how do you even describe those? It's like introspective, intelligent, um Western cartoon TV shows, right? You had Gravity Falls, you had Over the Garden Wall. I think you can lump in Steven Universe as well. And then I think Infinity Train, provided that it is out now, I think it is. It just came out at a point where my if not my interest, then at least my fixation on that type of show had kind of died out a bit. But man, did I fuck with Gravity Falls and Steven Universe. Holy shit. And the pilot was cool, yeah. What do I remember? It almost looked like kind of more 80s almost. It had like a very unique feeling to it for sure. But I just think I don't think it would have been as successful if they had kept that look. I think it was probably the right call. Oh, was it also more labor intensive? Yeah, shit, man. Gotta be careful with that junk. Don't scope creep your productions, guys. Budget your time well. Produce smart, not hard. Not hard. Produce smart, not hard. Especially, I mean, when it comes to like professional TV show productions, produce smart, not hard. When it's just your personal project, no budget productions, I guess you decide, man. But then again, of course, if you want to finish it, budget smart, not hard. Yeah, man, that guy's just a really good artist. Holy shit. Oh, there we go. Time to hit the hay. All right, see you, Monta. Have a good one. Sleep tight. All right, what else? What else we got? Just do the rest of the gestures. Sounds good to me. Really nice twist in this one. And what's a cool trick here is, like, her torso isn't necessarily that twisted, but because the drawing, because she has this skirt on, you can kind of extend the twist, extend the gesture into the skirt, right? So you get the C curve gesture or this S curve gesture, not necessarily just through the figure, but also through the skirt here. Hey, Alan, what's up? What's up, Alwyn? We're doing studies. This is Gary Vonica's drawings that we're doing studies of. Jay Seki, yo, what up? Oh shit, Gary. You know Gary? I just found his stuff, like, I don't know, maybe half a year ago and really, really liked it. I see, I see. I think he's just really good at gesture and shape. It's very appealing, all of his drawings. Always a pity when those Discord servers die. And then one more study. How you doing, Jay? It's been a while since you've checked in. Feels like, at least. Busy with contract work and Baldur's Gate. Yeah, okay, I see you. I mean, sounds great. Sounds awesome. This is where I have to make the embarrassing admission that I kind of bounced off Baldur's Gate. You mean fair? Yeah, but I'm not a proper nerd now. You refunded 3 times because you couldn't get into it? Okay, okay. But you kept going, kept trying? That's noble. Now you're 80 hours into it, starting another playthrough. Okay. What flipped? What changed that made such a huge difference? Camera controls. Okay. So you got the mod? Right. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. What's this hand doing? Something like that? I can't tell. All right. Well, now I'm supposed to do invented figures. That's going to be exciting as we watch the drawings on the stream turn to shit. This layer group was Vanaka Studies. Let's find just reference for a character design that I can then pose. Let's see here. Where's she at? Gone, apparently. What? My images are just like gone from my Miro ref board. What? Is this an old one? Nope. What the hell? Just like half of the images just disappeared. Try hard refreshing. Shift Control R. Maybe. Oh, there we go. Bro had just moved it. It's a Miro board. My friend had moved it around. Sick, sick. Okay. Okay. We get this one. Oh, I have them somewhere else. I have them in a different document. Let's get rid of the studies disclaimer. There you go. Somewhere in here are the files, are the images that I need. It's not those. It's not those. So this is the problem with doing everything in one file. Here we go. Here's something. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, we found it. Awesome. And then what did bro tell me? He wants the shoes on the right. Oh, and there was that sketch. I was looking for that sketch. Damn. So stupid. Those shoes, that hair. Yep. Let's just go with that for now. I don't like how the headwear kind of disappears in the hair, but let's just go with that for now. And then let me just quickly export this and dump it in the Miro board. Cool. Then what did I want to do? I wanted to just do some drawings. Try to invent some poses. I mean, it could be nice to see, like, how does she fight with those daggers? And how does she fight with those daggers? There's a component to it where she's like, because the idea is they're attached with a chain, right? So sometimes she would like let that loose and just like swing them. And then it's like, how would you generate the force for that pose? I don't know, man. I feel like I just don't know enough. I feel like I should find some similar weapons, and I don't know what that is, like nunchucks or a meteor hammer or something. And then look at some poses. How does that look? when you use weapons like that. Hi, Reside Puffs, how you doing? You've been lurking. Everything has been looking good. Oh, thanks, thanks. But don't worry, all that's about to change. We have entered the discomfort zone. Nar. It's true. It's true. Bad Girls Club. I don't even know what that is. But it does sound like something where a lot of drama would be involved. A show from the 2000s. Okay. Hmm. Like reality TV? Yeah, yeah. Fair enough. And she'd be throwing a knife. Maybe there's like a jump attack in here somewhere. Gotta go. We'll see ya. Happy to hear that you like the streams. Break the joint animation style. I don't know, man. I think I gotta find a way for her to get more stealthy with it. I'm not sure she would like all out jump attack like this. Needs to be more of like an assassin profile than like a fighter profile. So maybe that means crunching forward more than crunching back. Maybe she's more hunched in her movements than like splayed out. Right, I flipped the canvas like a lot. I don't know that you need to flip the canvas this much. You can. It's a good habit to have that you flip the canvas once in a while, right? So you get the check on how does it look from the other angle. And I also use it to just do lines at like the angle I'm the most comfortable with. You always manually do it? That's crazy. That is crazy work. Right. I think any command that I use, I have key bound. That's not true, but the vast majority. Oh, I mean, sure. Probably won't comment on it much. I'm just I'm in a bit of a flow, or I'd like to get in a bit of a flow. One of the two. This definitely feels better than the first couple poses. Um, and it is better drawn, but I also think a big part of it is that we're doing more closed poses now, and it just feels more in character. Well, that's fun. He's a Soul Eater fan. I like the fashion. I like the slant to the shirt. Big boots. Okay. So there's an idea. See if we can find another idea. Um, I mean, I always fail at doing this pose. It's like a classic, like the crouched assassin, ready to fight. feel like I always struggle with it. It's so yuck. Right. I don't even know. I'm gonna have to try and like assume it. Give me a second. I'm gonna have to try and feel out what feels natural. Okay. So I found two variations that make sense to me. I was on the floor, crouching. Yeah. And so the one is like either I want to like fully lean into it, and then I want to kind of open the other arm. Or maybe not that much. A true artist becomes one with the pose, for sure. And I never, and maybe that's like a flexibility issue. It didn't feel comfortable to go like fully stretched with that other leg. I always wanted to bend that just a little bit. I don't know. I just want you to not overlap while I'm drawing. Okay, that. Cool. You need to do more pose sketches. Me too, man. It's so hard. I think this is going to be like maybe all of today. For me. I don't know, but I kind of like the fully outstretched leg from like a visual perspective, even though it felt uncomfortable. I feel like it looked okay. But this was the one idea, right? Is either I want to like lean into it, put my arm down, and open, and the other pose that I felt was like relatively natural. Yeah, it is that thing of like trying to heighten the pose, right? The other thing that I liked, and this was, I leaned back a bit more. And this arm still went down, but not on the floor. And then this arm, all of a sudden it was comfortable to have this arm down as well. I like that you're like live reacting. That's that's a little funny. Like, okay, I see you. Okay. Um, I might have to do it again just to figure out where the knives go. Nah, but it's roughly right. I think. Yeah, I don't know. It just really helps me feel out what's like a natural pose, like what's a pose that I want to assume, and then of course there's like the added margin of error that I'm not like a super athlete that's incredibly flexible. So some poses, some dramatic poses, I just won't be able to assume. But you can often kind of feel like what feels reasonable. What do I think that somebody flexible could do? Like for example, I don't think that leg out like that is bad for someone who's quite flexible. It just like was for me. Well, no, I couldn't do that. I could, well, I could, but it was uncomfy. But I'm like, somebody is going to be comfortable in that pose. And then that one goes in. Okay. We might have time for like one more pose. But these are starting to feel in character. This is the Jacob way, is just stack the drawings. Because then they're easy to find again, right? Oh, I want that one. The Jacob way. What else we got? Throwing the knife. Getting like readying for battle. There's also like a different moment, which I don't feel like I'll necessarily nail, but we can try. I guess there's plenty. There could be like an assassination moment, like an Assassin's Creed sneaking up from behind. Um, that obviously requires like another dude. It's like a gun, okay? Just pretend that's what a gun looks like. Yeah. And then what would you do? She'd be like crouching, and then she'd pop up at the end and like cut his throat, right? Um, so gas fire flames. And then, I mean, of course, what would be funny is doing like the super dramatic jump pose here. But we've just established that is out of character. It's just fun in context. It's just funny in context. Um, anyway, what would she actually do? And where is the moment? you could do like right as she puts the knife at his throat, right? But that's going to be quite static. Also, this might be the wrong angle for the illustration. I think it's a good character moment to have her like in the middle of like an assassination of some sort. Then it could be like right as she's about to like explode. Like a crouching tiger sort of moment. And like you'd see the determination in her eyes. Maybe it's something like that. But I think, yeah, but I think we can probably find a better angle for it. This feels a little flat. Could probably be like a more interesting dynamic piece. All right. Before we close out for the day, I wanted to do like a bit of concept creation here at the end. So I'd like to go over a little bit of how I did this background for this piece, and how I integrated this 3D background with a 2D character, because it is a 3D background. And let me think about what the best way to do this is. I think we could probably like go from the top of the layer stack to the bottom. And just like turn off some layers. because then you can see each step I took in like integrating the background with the character. Right, that's important. You just tab back in. I just did this in the 5 seconds you looked away. No. Let's see here, and there's the frames. So this is 3D, right? That's the point. That's the big thing. Okay, and can we do like that? We can. Oh, and then the reflection here. You're the reflection. So I'd like to do a bit of a step-by-step as to how I integrated. Actually, let's probably start here. Right? Or what's it? It's this one? Like to do a bit of a step-by-step as to how I integrated this background or integrated this character into this 3D background. And well, how I did the 3D, we can talk about that some other day. But here is, once I have the 3D, how I made it feel more unified. I had this character. I knew I wanted like a very chromy, shiny, mirrory background. So I went in 3D and I did a very chromy, shiny, mirrory background. And it looks like this. I exported like 2 passes. One of them is just clean, and one of them has like a dummy in there to get some of the material information. You can see how that creates just more accurate reflections in all of the materials, right? And in the final, I use this background for everything but the mirrors, essentially. Cool. Then I painted these reflections. And this is, of course, what was really important here is I had the 3Ds to kind of imply what perspective am I seeing these reflections in the mirror from, right? So it was just kind of like drawing over those. And then we get here. And then something you'll see is one of the big issues you have when you're trying to integrate 2D and 3D is there's very easily a whole lot of information in 3D. A whole lot of information is very complex and dense, and the 2D I had painted wasn't as complex and dense. So this was a problem I had to solve, and what I did is I did another render of these spines here with an almost empty environment. Essentially, I hid almost everything in the Blender scene and just rendered out my spines here with the HDRI that I was using with the environment. And so that removes a lot of the density of information in all these spines. That's an important step. Did these frames here. That's just like a design thing. I wanted the space to have frames around the mirrors. And then one of the big things is this looks very dramatic and complex. And if you were to see this scene in real life, I would actually imagine that it would look a little bit more like this and just be this busy all over the place. But since it's an illustration, I wanted to separate the character from the background, right? And in this case, I did it with a series of passes of like levels adjustments where I just boosted all the high values in the scene, and a series of just like layers of white put over the background. I implied that the light source behind her is really bright, so I add this very bright highlight on the immediate surroundings of that very bright light. And now we're kind of getting there, right? We're kind of getting to a point where, like, the image could have very easily looked like this, and I kind of like this too. But if we want to really separate the character, which I did want to do, you can just do that with like a series of lightening passes. And then to sort of bring the character and the 3D environment together, something you can sometimes do is put an adjustment layer over the character and the 3D environment. And so in this case, you know how mirrors, if you reflect mirrors a million times into each other, they're actually kind of green. I used that to pick the adjustment that I then wanted to overlay the entire composition with. Now it feels more integrated. It feels more like it's in the same space. But now I lose a little bit of the separation. So I go back in after having sort of unified the entire composition with these passes of green over top. I come back in and and undo some of that work. Go back to that more sterile white and black look. But you can still see I keep a little bit of that green tint just to make it feel like everything has been treated with some of the same light information. Add the reflection down here and the piece is done. Right. So the big takeaways are, when you're dealing with 3D or photo information, you want to integrate like a simpler 2D character with that. Try to somehow reduce the information in the 3D because it gets really dense. And do some very, very subtle overlays where you're affecting the entire thing in the same way. This can be like a 2% multiply layer or something. You're just hitting all of the scene with a little bit of like the same treatment, a little bit of like the same light. And then, of course, it really helps if you can do stuff like this where you're actually painting 2D into the 3D. Just really ties things together. Cool. Now, with that, I will leave you guys. Have a lovely weekend. Thanks for joining the stream. I hope you had a good time. See you in the next one. Until then, have a good one. Goodbye.